Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. So if you are looking to start or grow a YouTube channel alongside working a full-time job, then hopefully this video is going to help you out. If you're new here, my name is Ali and I started my YouTube channel way back in 2017 when I was a medical student at Cambridge University. And I then spent 2 years working full-time as a junior doctor in the UK's National Health Service, including during the pandemic. And while working full-time, I grew this YouTube channel over 3 years from 0 to around 1.3 million subscribers. And so I definitely know how hard it can be to balance working a full-time job alongside starting a YouTube channel, but it is definitely possible. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing my best advice about how you can successfully balance working full-time with building a YouTube channel. And we're going to talk about things like how you can find the time and energy to do both things, how much time you should spend on your channel, and how to optimize the way that you use your time and energy so that you don't burn out and you can still keep making the videos. Now, I recently asked my audience to send in any questions you guys had about growing your YouTube channels, and I'm going to be using a question that Hanil sent in to talk directly about this problem that I'm sure a lot of you are facing. So let's dive into Hanil's question, and of course there will be timestamps down below, so do feel free to skip around the video if you feel like it.
Hey Ali, so I am a veterinarian working from 10 to 6 in a clinic, and I also do some private cases after I'm done with my 10 to 6 job. And basically the thing is both these things are like sort of active jobs where they require my presence and my energy, and I really wanted to get into something that will have more like a passive way of working and a passive way of generating income. So I was thinking of going into like getting into the YouTube route or making content. Either that would be for veterinarians like myself or pet parents, educating them about the things that we as veterinarians want them to know beforehand. So I really wanted to start this YouTube channel since the past 1 year, and I feel like I just don't get enough of time during the day, or even if I have the time, I am kind of so drained out that I just want to sleep and not do anything. And so in order to combat this, I thought I would start at least doing live streams of me studying so that I get the hang of being on YouTube. And I tried that out once or twice, and that kind of stopped there. But I think it really worked out well because it kind of kept me focused on the studying part of it, as well as I was kind of putting out content on the channel. So what I have done so far is I have made that setup and kept it. But I would really like to know what would be your opinion on me getting this YouTube channel really up and going, even though I have all these things lined up for the day already. Thanks.
Ooh, okay. This is a good question. How do you do YouTube with a full-time job? Now, I am gonna take a little bit of a different approach to answering this because of Hanil's background. So he's a vet who works full-time from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. He does private cases as well, but he would love to have a passive form of income. We all want to make money in our sleep without doing any work. So, this is why I started this journey. I can understand why Hanil, and probably you watching this, would like some passive income. It sounds great, doesn't it? He's thinking maybe YouTube or content, maybe content for vets or people who are pet parents. That is actually a very good thing to be thinking about. He's leaning into his unfair advantages, but he's been wanting to start for a year, but don't have the time and don't have the energy. Classic problem that we all face with anything that we're trying to do. Either we don't have the time or we do have the time, but we're so drained by the thing that we do for our day job that we just don't have the energy to do it. He's dabbled with some live streams and stuff, but really just wants to know, how do I make this YouTube channel successful with a full-time job? So we need to zoom out. And we need to zoom out because if Hanil were sitting in front of me right now, the first thing I would say to him, Hanil, is like, why do you actually want to start a YouTube channel? Do you want to start a YouTube channel because you are intrinsically motivated to start a YouTube channel specifically? Or do you want to start a YouTube channel because you think it is your best route to passive income? And the reason why really matters here, because if Hanil were to say to me that, look, honestly, the reason I want to start a YouTube channel is like, I don't really care about YouTube itself. I don't really care about making videos. I am using the YouTube channel as an instrumental strategy to get to my real goal, which is some form of passive income. In that sense, I would tell Hanil, look man, don't start a YouTube channel. If your goal is passive income, there are way more efficient ways to make passive income than by starting a YouTube channel. I would not recommend YouTube channel if the goal from starting a YouTube channel is to try and make passive income. Why is that? Well, it's just too much of a slog. If you really want to make passive income, there just are better paths for it. One thing that would come to mind is generally if you want to make money, you want to do some sort of B2B offer. You want to sell to businesses rather than to consumers. You want to try and sell some sort of product. In Hanil's case, he's got expertise in the veterinarian field. So it's just more efficient to find a client who is a veterinary practice or going up the supply chain of vet stuff, talking to a pharmaceutical company that supplies products to vets, trying to figure out what is a service that I can offer them which would solve a problem that they have in their business. Because businesses have large amounts of money, whereas individuals do not have large amounts of money. Usually when someone wants to start a YouTube channel, they're trying to go the B2C approach. Either they're hoping to get loads and loads of views so that they can get sponsorship and AdSense and stuff and then make money. It's not particularly passive because you still have to keep on making the videos and you're always going to run into the problem of like kind of time and energy and stuff. Or you're going to try and sell some sort of product to consumers. So maybe he would sell a course on how to get into vet school, which would be sold to consumers who want to get into vet school. And then yeah, in that sense, it's passive because you make the course once. It might take 6 months to make the course, but you make it once and then in theory you sell it over time. The problem is it's just a very long game. There's no guarantee that it's actually going to work. There's no guarantee that Hanil has what it takes to succeed on YouTube. It takes having some sense of like having expertise in the topic, but also a sense of being able to explain things on camera, a sense of other people connecting with the sort of personality that you have on the internet. I'm not saying Hanil doesn't, it's just that these things are not guaranteed. Whereas if you were genuinely just trying to make money and you were just trying to sell a very useful service to some sort of business, that is way more guaranteed. The path to selling a service to a business in the vet sphere and making money from it that you can then hire people out to make roughly passive, that to me, I would say has a 10 times more likelihood of working than Hanil trying to start a YouTube channel as an instrumental technique to make passive income. That's if Hanil were to tell me that really the YouTube channel is just a means to an end. If, however, Hanil were to tell me, you know what, the YouTube channel is not a means to an end. I really like the idea of starting a YouTube channel. I'd say to him, okay, you really like the idea of starting a YouTube channel. Would you do it even if you knew you'd never make money from it? If Hanil's answer is still yes, I would ask him why. Would you do it if you didn't make money from it? Yes, I still would. Why is that? Because I get a lot of personal joy and satisfaction from the thought that my content could be useful to someone else. That to me is gold standard. That's like, great, we are doing YouTube for the right reasons. The people who end up making money on YouTube usually are the ones who didn't set out to make money on YouTube. It is very hard to make money on YouTube if you set out to make money on YouTube. There are just way more efficient ways to make money. But it becomes a lot more doable if the reason you're doing it is an intrinsically motivated reason for starting a YouTube channel, because you're motivated by the purpose, the service, the joy, the love of teaching in Hanil's case. So if anyone is watching this and thinking of starting a YouTube channel as an instrumental reason for making money, I would say don't do it. It's not worth it. There are more effective ways of making money. What are those more effective ways of making money? Well, I have a video over there. My honest advice to someone who wants to be financially free, that has so many recommendations of books and articles and podcasts that you can check out, because that is the more efficient way to make money. You should start a business selling stuff to other businesses. Please, for the love of God, do not start a YouTube channel if your only reason to start it is to make money. There are more efficient ways of doing it. Having said all of that, I'm now going to assume that for the rest of this video that Hanil actually does want to start a YouTube channel for its own sake, because he's motivated by the pleasure, the purpose, the joy of service, all that kind of stuff, and is simply running into the problem of time and energy. I'm going to assume that Hanil's goal is something to the effect of, I want to make one YouTube video per week. This, I think, is a good goal. When we think of goals, there's sort of a spectrum of goals. There is input goals, there is output goals, and there is outcome goals. Generally, these are easier. Input goals are easier and outcome goals are harder. And also broadly, these sort of input goals are more in your control and outcome goals are less in your control, or under your control, or whatever the phrase is. Okay, so what would an outcome goal be? An outcome goal would be, I want to get to 100K subs by, I don't know, 2026. Whatever the thing might be, that is an outcome goal. That is broadly, that's very hard to do and outside of Hanil's control, outside of your control. What's an output goal? An output goal is one video per week. I would like to output, i.e. publish one video per week. And what is an input goal? An input goal is I want to do, 8 hours per week work on my YouTube channel, or whatever the thing might be. This is an input. Hanil is inputting 8 hours of time here. This is an output. He's aiming to output one video per week. This is an outcome. He's aiming to get 100,000 subscribers by 2026. I don't like outcome goals. Outcome goals are very hard. I think when you're very experienced, you can go for outcome goals. These days for my business, we have outcome goals. I'm like, the goal is to grow the business to 10 million in revenue by the end of next year. It's hard, it's outside of my control, but I'm fairly experienced in the world of business that it sort of makes sense to have that as an outcome goal. If I was a total noob and I had outcome goals for my business, things would be a lot harder and I'd be more likely to lose motivation. What I would probably recommend for Hanil is starting with the output goal of one video per week, because that is an output goal that is more or less within our control. And it's something that we can then optimize for when we're figuring out this main problem that Hanil has, which is, I don't have any time, and when I do have the time, I don't have the energy. So knowing that the goal is 1 video per week, we're now trying to figure out, okay, how do we get more time? And how do we find the time, and how do we create the energy to be able to make 1 video per week? And knowing that is actually quite useful, because 1 video per week is less of a vague, abstract thing than I want to grow on YouTube, or I want to do YouTube, or whatever the thing might be. So we know we want 1 video per week. Oh, by the way, if you're enjoying this video so far, you might like to check out my completely free part-time YouTuber crash course. It is a 7-day email course where every day I will email you some super useful principles, strategies, tools, templates, stuff that I found useful over the last 7 years in growing my YouTube channel. It's completely free. You can unsubscribe anytime, and there'll be a link down below if you want to check it out. Now then, what we have to do, and at least this is the way I think about it, is we just need to break down what does it look like to make 1 video per week? What is the process of creating a video? Well, you start off with the idea. Then, if Hanil has seen any of my content, he knows that you should figure out the title and the thumbnail of the video. Then Hanil will probably want to write the video, and then probably film, and then probably edit, and then probably publish. And so this needs to happen in order for Hanil to make 1 video per week. So let's break this down. This is genuinely the advice I give to someone who's in this situation. And loads of people are in this situation, right? Well, if you're watching the video to this point, you're probably in the situation where maybe you want to make YouTube videos, you want to make maybe 1 video per week, but like, how the hell do you find the time and the energy to do it, especially with a full-time job? I was in this position for 3 years. 1 year while I was a medical student full-time at Cambridge, and then 2 years while I was working full-time as a doctor. And then the pandemic happened, and then I took a break and stuff. And then suddenly I became a full-time YouTuber, or rather a part-time YouTuber and a full-time entrepreneur, blah, 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 blah. But like, this is the stuff that I'm very intimately familiar with. Okay, so how do we do it? Well, firstly, we need to figure out how much time do we actually have available per week to be able to make this video. Hanil says he works 10 till 6 during the weekdays and does private cases after that. I'm gonna bet that Hanil can probably not film videos on weekdays because he's working full-time. So now we only really have weekends left. Hanil might have a life. And so he might say that, okay, I want to get all of this done within 4 hours on a Saturday. So let's say 4 hours is what we're trying to go for. I think 4 hours may be a little bit unrealistic, but we'll just go for that. We'll just pretend that Hanil has 4 hours. The input is 4 hours per week to give to the YouTube channel, and the output we're going for is 1 video per week. Now, it actually is possible to do that. Right now, you could open up the YouTube app, and you could hit go live, and you could do a live stream, and you could just film a video. And that would produce 1 video per week, because you don't need to edit it. It just goes on your YouTube channel and it shows up as a live stream. Easy enough. The problem with that is that the less time you put into creating these videos, the less high quality they're going to be. So obviously, a video that's properly filmed and written and edited with a proper title and proper thumbnail is probably going to do better than a random live stream that you just put online. You would then think that, okay, well, that's fine. So maybe it's not the live stream. Maybe a live stream would take half an hour, but I've still got another 3.5 hours. So what do I do with that time? Well, maybe you just film a video just off the cuff, and then you spend 3 hours editing it. That could be it. Maybe you spend 2 hours looking at the idea, 30 minutes writing it, filming it, and then not doing any editing at all. Like, essentially, we just have this allocation of 4 hours, and we need to allocate the time to these different activities. So if I personally had to start a YouTube channel, and I was going to make 1 video a week, and I only had 4 hours to put into my YouTube channel, this is what I would do. Firstly, I would cut out editing, because I would outsource it. How do you outsource editing? Well, you look at editors on Upwork and Fiverr and People Per Hour. If you want to find really good editors, you go to heyfriends.studio, which is a company that I'm running with some friends. There's ways to find editors. People are always like, oh, but I can't outsource editing because it's expensive. I have a whole course. My part-time YouTuber Academy has like a whole module on how to outsource your editing. But in a nutshell, Hanil is a veterinarian. He probably makes more money from his day job than it would cost to hire a video editor in his country. I don't know where Hanil is from, but I'm going to assume it's somewhere like India, where vets definitely get paid more than video editors. So what Hanil can do is he can outsource video editing and find someone who's just making less money than he is. He mentioned that he does private cases. That means he gets paid private practice rates to do private cases. So let's say Hanil makes $100 for each private case that he does. And let's say it costs him $30 or $40 to find someone to edit a video. Hanil can do some extra cases to buy back his time and to use some of that money to buy back time when it comes to outsourcing video editing. The way to think about this is that 4 hours per week is not that much time to put into a YouTube channel. Everything takes 2 resources, time plus money. And you can argue energy and stuff. But actually, time and money are interchangeable. You can spend time to save money, or you can spend money to save time. In this context, I'm saying that if it were me and I only had 4 hours per week and I was making money through my vet day job and my private practice, I would be spending money to save time. I would be outsourcing my editing. If I didn't want to outsource my editing, for whatever reason, because I'm silly or because I'm broke or whatever the thing might be, then we would have to factor editing into this whole process. And I would probably say editing would take maybe 2 hours. So I'm going to put 2 hours in brackets over here. And yeah, you can always edit a video for more than 2 hours. On average, it takes our editors 5 days to edit one of these videos for my main channel. But back in the day when I was editing my own videos, it was taking me like 4 to 6 hours to edit a video. Sometimes I had to get one out while, because I was aiming for one video a week. And so I'd only spend 2 hours in the editing. I was editing my own videos for 2 whole years before I decided to outsource the editing. And that was just dumb of me. I wish someone had told me, you need to figure out how to outsource it. I'm going to assume Hanil is following my advice and is actually outsourcing his editing. Great. It still probably takes half an hour per week to review the edit, go back and forth with the editor, use frame.io, which is really good software for feeding back on the edits and stuff. So we're down to 3.5 hours. What do we do with the rest of that time? Well, I think filming the video, we should aim for that to take 30 minutes. If Hanil is doing content about things that he's experienced in and knows what he's talking about, it shouldn't take longer than 30 minutes to film a video, and maybe each video is 10 minutes long, or 6 to 10 minutes long. You can do that within a 30-minute filming session. So that leaves us with 3 hours left. What do we do with that 3 hours? Honestly, I'd probably spend 2 of those hours on the idea, the title, and the thumbnail, and I'd spend 1 of those hours on writing the video. The 2 hours on the idea, title, and thumbnail, 1 hour on writing the video, 30 minutes filming the video, 30 minutes reviewing the edits that my outsourced video editor has done, and then publishing the video. I'm not really going to count in the 4 hours because I can just sort of upload it overnight. If it depends on how good my internet connection is. And once I've nailed the title and thumbnail already, that's the hard part. Publishing it is a 5-minute job. It's not too hard. So I'm going to assume this takes 5 minutes. And now this just becomes a maths puzzle. How do you make the best quality videos given the constraints of time and given the constraints of money? So how do we do idea, title, and thumbnail in 2 hours? Actually, 2 hours is a very reasonable amount of time to do idea, title, and thumbnail. He comes up with some ideas. Again, this is a whole thing. Figure out target audience, value proposition, competitor analysis, unfair advantages, the whole shebang. But if Hanil is just getting started out, I would say don't overthink it. Watch all of the videos I've ever made about how to grow on YouTube. Maybe sign up to my course if you really want to, but it's kind of expensive. Maybe you can't afford it. That's fine. Whatever the thing might be. In fact, Hanil, if you're watching this, reach out to us. We'll give you free access to the course. Whatever it might be, it's not that hard coming up with ideas. And then you spend maybe, I don't know, an hour on Canva doing title and thumbnail for that particular video. We want to streamline this process to make it as efficient as possible. When it comes to writing videos, what I would recommend for Hanil is don't script your videos. If you script your videos word for word, it will take way longer than 1 hour to write a video. A 10-minute video is maybe, how many words? 1,500 words? Something like that. It usually takes longer than 1 hour to write 1,500 words or 1,000 words. Generally, what I would recommend is just going with bullet points. What I do for my videos, especially if it's a topic that I actually have expertise in, so if I was talking about medical stuff or whatever, if I was Hanil, I'd be talking about vet stuff. I would just decide what are the 3 to 5 things I want to say in the video. And I just want to limit it to 3 to 5 things, potentially even just 3 things. Let's say I were doing a video called How to Get into Vet School in the UK, right? And I'd be thinking, what are the 3 main points I want to make in this video? Well, it's going to have an intro and it's going to have an outro. Sure. Point number 1, point number 2, point number 3. This is the triplet method of making videos, which I talk about in my course as well. Point number 1, how it works. Point number 2, tips for getting in. And point number 3, mistakes people make. And then within each of these points, I would limit myself to just 3 points. So this is the triplet method, the 3x3 method, 3x3. I have 3 main points, 1, 2, 3, and I have 3 sub points within my 3 main points. And this would take me maybe 10, 15, 20 minutes to put together. That is the time that Hanil would use in writing the video. And then coming back to our little diagram over here. It's actually pretty good. I've given Hanil a whole hour to write the video, and it shouldn't take more than 20 minutes if he's following my method and talking about stuff that he actually has genuine expertise in. Now we've got way more time to film the video. So Hanil can hit record on the camera, he can film on his phone, he can film on a camera, whatever the thing is. I'm assuming it's easy enough to set up. He mentioned he's got this live streaming studying setup, so already has the camera. He hits record and he just shares from the heart and tries to add as much value to his audience as he possibly can, sharing everything he knows within the confines of this triplet method of creating this video. The 3 main points and the 3 sub points. Now the video is filmed, it then gets uploaded to Google Drive or Dropbox or whatever. You hand an SD card to an editor if you know them in real life. The editing is outsourced. A few days later, Hanil is going to get a review from the editor, and it might take half an hour back and forth, and then he published the video. This is the simple process to making a video every week with 4 hours of time. The way we then make this process more efficient, for example, is by recognizing what can we batch. So this was a thing that I really realized when I was working full-time as a doctor. I realized that the only thing that actually needed large amounts of time was the filming. I didn't have a setup in my house, so I had to like set up the camera, set up the light, set up the tripod, set up the microphone, film the thing, and then take them all back down again. So it would take me like an hour to set up for filming. So what I realized, well, if it takes an hour to set up for filming, every time I set up for filming, I should film more than one video. I should ideally film 2 or 3 or 4 videos in the same day. Because if I can do that, then I can be very efficient, and then I can do my entire like upload calendar in one filming session. So if Hanil was being really pro, this is what I would advise. I would say, Hanil, you should probably have, instead of thinking about this as like 4 hours per week, where it's like it has to be consistent, instead, let's say this is, I don't know, a monthly calendar or something. You guys get the idea. This is a Saturday, this is a Sunday. Now I'm going to assume because Hanil works full time, you can't really do very much Monday to Friday. I'm assuming you can't really do very much. What I would do if I were Hanil is I would say, okay, the first Saturday of every month is going to be my film day. And the goal is to film 4 videos in that day. The goal is to film 4 videos on that Saturday. That means in preparation for that first Saturday, where I'm going to take the whole day, or the whole like morning or whole afternoon, whatever, to film 4 videos, I need to make sure I've prepared those 4 videos. So how do we find the time to prepare those 4 videos? Well, conveniently, when it comes to idea generation, titles, thumbnails, and writing, these are actually, all of these are things that can be done in small amounts of time here and there. When I was working as a doctor full-time, for example, you know, a full-time job is not really a full-time job. There are very few days where it's genuinely back-to-back and you don't even have a single minute to yourself. You've got break times, you've got lunch breaks, you've got those times when you're seeing a patient and then they have to be taken to radiology and it takes 5 minutes to get there and back and there's no other patient to see, so you've got 10 minutes of time. You've got times when you're on the toilet. You've got times when if you're commuting to work, it looks like Hanil is driving, but if you're commuting to work, for example, on public transport, you can use your phone, you can get an iPad or a laptop or a notepad. Like there's all these little moments of time here and there, and you can use those moments of time to think, okay, cool. My goal is on Saturday, the 1st of August, I'm gonna film 4 videos. So I need 4 ideas, I need 4 titles and thumbnails, I need to have 4 outlines created so that when it gets to Saturday, the 1st of August, I now have enough content that I can just bang out 4 videos on that one filming session. And that means then Hanil can give all 4 videos to his 1 or 2 or 3 outsourced editors, and they can slowly work on it over time. And then Hanil is not spending that much time reviewing those back and forth because there's lead times and it takes a while to get back from the editors and stuff. And this is really how you become a part-time YouTuber. This was the exact method that I used to grow my channel from 0 to like 1.5 million subscribers while working entirely full-time as a doctor. And even now, I only spend 1 day a week on my YouTube channel. This day is a filming day. And on filming days, I aim to film at least 1 video, sometimes 2, sometimes 3. This is actually the 3rd video I'm filming today. We had a filming video last week where I filmed 4 videos in 1 day. Some days it's just been 1, some days it's been 0, depending on how I feel. But I only spend 8 hours a week on my YouTube channel. I've gotten to the point, of course, now where I have a team to deal with all this sort of stuff. But fundamentally, what I do now is no different from this process, which is what I was doing 5 years ago when I was still working full time and in the same position as Hanil, where I'd be working 9 till 6 every single day. Sometimes I'd have shifts in the evening. Sometimes I would have night shifts. I would have not very much time to do my YouTube channel. But because I found ways to streamline the process and make it efficient, I found ways to batch film my content. After 2 freaking years, I found a way to outsource my editing because I was still doing my own editing, which was really, really, really dumb. So you should outsource your editing. Eventually, this process becomes like clockwork. And when you do it enough times, you start realizing, oh, I can actually make 1 video per week. I could even make 2 videos per week because actually I can film 2 in a row, especially if I make it an easy lift in terms of writing. And the more you do this, the more you get better at the skill over time. And provided the content is valuable enough for your target audience, and you do some amount of research into idea, title, and thumbnail, which is why I'm spending half my time looking idea, title, and thumbnail. Provided you spend enough time researching that, things will probably work out well. Again, there's no guarantee. YouTube is not a guaranteed game. This is why I said right at the start, if your goal is to make money and YouTube is your instrumental way that you're going to make money with, it's just not worth it. Like, I would not recommend doing that. But if you like the idea of starting a YouTube channel and growing a YouTube channel for its own sake, you know, I have enough money now. I don't need to make YouTube videos, but I make YouTube videos because it's the thing I would do anyway. I enjoy the process of teaching. I like the idea of taking in a question from the audience, and I like the idea of just being able to spiel about it and draw some stuff. That's kind of cool. And maybe the video's not going to go viral, but I don't really care. Maybe the YouTube channel is not going to make money. I don't really care because I enjoy the craft of making YouTube videos. So you want to get to a point, Hanil, where the reason you're doing this is not because it's going to get you to passive income, but it's because you enjoy it and you think there is a value in the service you're offering to the world in some way. You might think that hopefully your videos are helpful to at least one person. And the more you do that, the more the channel grows. Eventually you get monetized, you start making money through AdSense. And then if you want, you can start doing products further down the line, and you can get to the point where you're making a decent amount of money from it. But again, it's not guaranteed. So please do not start a YouTube channel if the reason you're doing it is for the money. Okay, hopefully all that makes sense. If you're still here, then you might like to check out this video over here where I break down my 3-part process for actually growing a YouTube channel in terms of level 1, get going, level 2, get good, level 3, get smart. It doesn't really overlap with this stuff in this video, but it'll give you another mental model for thinking about how to grow a YouTube channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you hopefully in the next video. Bye-bye.